Please lie.
I am, and yes, it's because, in large part, because of our weekly visits with Coach Plough. But I am hooked on Aggie football right now. They're having a great year.
Yes, they are.
And they were on ESPN2 last weekend.
National stage.
Watched the whole thing, dude.
That stadium's awesome, and they handled all of it.
I was nail biting.
Yeah.
I was nervous. The crowd was insane, and it was a pleasure to watch the way that thing ended up. 30-14, your final, and joining us right now, the mayor of Shredville, the one, the only Coach Tim Plough. Good morning, Coach. It's Dave and Jason. How are you,
boys? How we doing?
I'll tell you, man. That's a hell of an impressive mustache you had going on national TV, dude.
That's my Tim Lasso stash, man. Just got to keep the belief going.
By the way, they just called another false start on you guys. That was that crowd. That was where I really started because Tim, I'm all in when it comes to teams I root for, and I live and die at every turn. And I'm watching the game outside my little TV on my own, and my kids are hearing me yell because there was a point, especially in that first half, where that crowd was really – they were feeling themselves, and you guys were having some issues with that crowd noise. How did you overcome that? Because I was really worried at one point that was going to be a big issue the whole game.
Well, it's not – I mean, I've coached there several times, and it's just going to happen. Like, especially at our level, our guys just aren't used to playing in that type of environment. And, you know, I tried to warn them. We had no players that have ever played there before, so I tried to warn these guys, it's going to be loud. You know, we worked our silent cadence and worked all the stuff we could, but until you get out there and actually feel it, it's hard to really replicate. And so some of those actually some coaching errors. We were trying to, you know, come out of the huddle and do some double cadence stuff, and it was just taking too long. And so some of that was some stuff we should have done better as coaches. But, you know, these guys are resilient, and, you know, toward the sideline, we'll get it fixed. And I thought the fact that we still made the field goal after we had gotten the penalties just kind of calmed everybody down. And we just got back over there, talked about how we could do it a little bit better, and kind of got over that little hump. And once we got over that little part, I thought, you know, things were pretty smooth. And really the truth is our defense played so well, and they really carried us during the game so that the offense could calm down a little bit. Yeah,
and I thought, Coach, the game flow, too, like when Montana did score, you guys scored right back on them. I thought that was – you guys always responded. And then, to your point, once the defense kept making stops, then you found your footing offensively and actually went past them and got the win. How important did you feel like it was that you guys responded with scores after they scored?
I think that's just a sign of a good team. And these guys they have a lot of belief. You know, they back each other. They support each other. So when things aren't going great, and that's happened a lot this year, you know, we haven't played great early in the year, and they still had ways and still had belief in each other they could get it done. And I think also, you know, I talked to the guys a lot the week about, hey, we gotta keep it close in the first half because in the third quarter, that stadium empties and they all go back out in the parking lot and have a good time. And in the third quarter is where you got to really separate. And I thought they did that. And once they separated, then no one really came back in. And that was kind of the turning point for us.
Well, 7-0 is how that whole thing started, as Jason said, and then you outscore them 30-7 the rest of the way on the road. You've been there now as a coach. You've been there as a player. That's about as impressive a performance with that crowd and that stadium against that team that I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, I just found out last night that 14 points is the lowest amount of points that Montana has scored in a home loss. I think in the last 40 years.
Wow.
So I think the defense and Coach Coombs and his staff deserve a lot of credit. You know, I think the offense gets more of the pub, you know, and with Land and Miles and all that. But we won that game because our defense played tremendous, and really our special teams kind of knocking their returner out of the game and not letting him really do anything was huge. So I thought it was the cool part for me was I thought it was really a true team victory. And to win the Big Sky, or to have a chance to win the Big Sky, you got to be able to beat the teams from Montana, and you got to be able to show that you can hang in atmospheres like that. So that was a huge step for the program, to be quite honest.
Well, that's the setup this week, Coach. I mean, it literally is for the Big Sky title. You're at home hosting Montana State. They've had an amazing year. You've had an amazing year. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that when you played for. When you coach for. I know nobody ever wants to put more on one game than any other, but this is it. Saturday at home, the showdown with two of the best teams at FCS. How rewarding is it to know that you're in that spot, and then two, just the anticipation of what should be an awesome game?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal that in year one that you're in this situation. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I did not think that we'd be here that quick, but I think the thing I've been trying to communicate to the team is, hey, since we're here and you guys have put yourself in this position, hey man, let's go sell out and see if we can do it. And I'm really hoping that our students and alumni and people show out to the game and we get a good crowd, because boy, do these guys deserve it. I mean, they've had such a great season. I just hope that it's a great crowd and we get to showcase what UC Davis can be for a championship game. And the fact that we get to play it at home, these opportunities do not come around very often. I hope that we have a bunch of great seasons here, but I don't know how many times we're going to be on a 9-game winning streak playing the team on a 10-game winning streak at home for the championship. I doubt that's going to happen very often. And man, I hope we can take advantage of it. They're a tremendous football team. You watch the film and they get a little scarier the more you watch them. But, I think these guys are going to compete and they're going to be resilient. And it's going to be great to play at home on senior day. And, boy, it'd be a tremendous sight if we could get that stadium full.
September 29th, 2001, a 40-0, I believe, Felix Trinidad steps in the ring against a guy a lot of people thought was a journeyman at one point, Bernard Hopkins, wearing his executioner mask. I remember it like it was yesterday. And for the first and I believe only time in his career, even though he should have lost against Oscar de la Hoya, that's a different story, Felix Trinidad's father had to step in the ring in the final round to rescue a beaten Tito Trinidad. And Bernard Hopkins was, by many accounts, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Why was that your choice? What went into that thought going into Friday night fights?
Well, I thought that number one, I'm a huge Bernard Hopkins fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite guys of all time. And I always loved that fight, because I just remember it being a very pro Trinidad crowd.
Yes,
the Puerto Rican following in New York right after 9/11, and I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a crazy crowd." Felt that was similar to Montana, and also that I wanted to tell our guys that we were going to be the executioners on Saturday night. And so I was also worried that, Montana's a pretty rough crowd. And they say some things sometimes to the team that's hard to take. And I wanted them to have something they could physically do to each other to remind each other to stay focused. So I wanted to come up with a way where they could, have some type of celebration to each other that only they knew about. So if you watch the game, you saw our guys kind of putting the executioner mask on every time something good would happen. And so I just wanted to put them in the mindset, like, I thought we were the better team. The crowd in the stadium was going to be the equalizer for them. And we just needed to have the confidence that, Montana has been the king of the conference for a long time. And we're the executioners that are there to end their reign and show everybody that we are the true contender. And I thought that was a good example of that night. I thought everyone talked about Trinidad, and at the end of the fight, everyone was talking about Hopkins.
I know you don't give away the fights the week, Dave. I can't wait. What's this one?
Honestly,
gotta be.
You know what's funny is I've gotten to the point now where he with the games coming up, I start to think like what fight would work, and I'm sure he's got a fight picked out.
Sure.
I can't help but think though, and I'm not suggesting this, but like something like like when Tony Lopez fought Rocky Lockridge at Arco Arena, and it was on CBS, which was a big deal back then. And it was for Lockridge's title, and because he said pro crowd, so the crowd was like insanely behind Tony Lopez and willed him to that victory to get his first title. I imagine you already have a fight picked out. I'm really excited to hear what it is next week. Oh yeah, some of them have been picked up for a while. These last three have been locked in for a while. I don't know. I'd like to say it's going to be a pro crowd, but I did hear the Bobcats got about 1,000 people coming, so I'm sure they'll be here in full force too. Yeah, whatever. Listen, I'll tell you as we take a break. It was about 2 years ago. I was in Montana, as a matter of fact. I was on the campus at Montana State with my wife and my kids, and one of their underclassmen just reached over and just gave my wife a Charlie horse right in the arm. Super uncalled for, ran away afterwards. And everybody on campus was just pointing at us and laughing like, you got a Charlie horse. Super embarrassing, super emasculating. I've never forgotten it. And I've been waiting a long time for anybody to exact revenge, because I can't do that to a whole campus. I'm tough. I'm not that tough. So, Coach, I know you got a lot of things on your mind going into this game, but if you would just maybe win one for my wife and our family honor, that would be really appreciated. Well, I've been waiting to hear some motivation for this game, because Lord knows I got nothing to motivate me. That puts me over the edge. Let's go hunt some Bobcats, man. Let's go. Let's go. The mayor of Shredville, the wonderfully mustached in Movember of all things, Coach Tim Plough. Great, good, wonderful, awesome luck this weekend. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets a little bit later. We've been doing that all week. Yeah, the crowd's going to be behind you guys, and we're going to be cheering you on, my man. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you guys every week, man. It's been a fun ride. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep the belief. Let's slap the Tim Lasso sign and get it done. Hey, listen. Every single time you've come on this show on a yearly basis, you've been 9-1, 100% of the time. So we're doing something right, Coach. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've found something magical. Let's just keep it rolling. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Good luck, Coach. Thank you. All right, boys. Find some joy. See ya. Bye. That's Tim Plough. We'll take a break when we come back. Can you imagine if he's in the locker? Guys. I talk to this guy every week. He hit his wife. Punched his wife in the arm. Let's go. And they were like, hey, you want a donut? And she's like, sure. And then they punched her in the arm. They go, hurts donut. All right, when we come back, Sac Republic Stadium passes. We'll give you some background on that. Not before we get a word from Gonzalez.